Susie Meister. Woo!
Hello.
It was like I swam over here.
I know, right?
Suze.
The river in my neighborhood I saw out front. You must have had to, like, bring your, like, best galoshes.
You know I did. I know.
It's the worst.
And, you know, I'm, like, scared as I'm driving through all these hills that, you know, they've got, like, the you know, the parts where it gets... where it's like not a hill, where all the water collects, and then I drive through and I'm like terrified that the kids are going to be like walking home from school when I leave, and like I'm going to splash some kid, and like it's going to, like, I don't know, he's going to have it in his memory of like, oh, that awful day when that Jeep splashed me. And
well, and I when I was driving home last night, you know, it was drizzling then, and then as soon as I got into our neighborhood, I was like in the cloud, you know, because we're up on that mountain, and so it's like the fog just settles over my house.
Yeah.
So as you know, it can be bad elsewhere, but then it gets worse whenever you get here. But,
and it does have like a kind of depressing look outside.
But you bring the sunshine with you. That's all I can ask
Suze, thank you so much.
I'm so mad.
There was... Oh, what are you mad about? Oh, I was going to say that Trabuco Canyon up by where I live got evacuated because of flood stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was overhearing ladies at Target talking about it.
Oh my gosh, it must have been like a flash flood type thing.
Yeah, I think so. But not me, so I'm not there anyway.
I was going to say I'm so mad because before we started recording, you were telling me how before you came over here, you went to Target.
Yep, that's where I heard the ladies talking.
You have to retell it.
Okay,
such a great story.
I have to. I mean, I can't rob you guys of this amazing story. So remember how we were talking about how I ordered that thing at Kohl's and the sweatshirt showed up, and so I took it back, and like they refunded it and they gave me a gift card, and I was like, sweet, free $50, and I only spent like $20,
right? And
so really free $30. And I still have that gift card. I need to use that. Anyways, not the story. So then last night I come home. And I'm thinking also in the back of my mind is Susie's story of her getting a freaking fancy-ass ring from Nordstrom when she ordered something. So last night I come home from the clinic, and on the front porch, I'm like, what the heck is it? And what the heck is this? You know, and Valentine's Day is, like, going to be coming up, or it's, like, right around the corner. So I was like, oh, this is probably a gift that Landon got me. And as I get closer, I see what it is, and it's a freaking baby crib. And I'm like, what the hell kind of mean practical joke is this? And then I think, okay, well, our next door neighbors 2 doors down is pregnant, so maybe this is for her. And then I check the name on it. Nope, Sarah Patterson. I'm like, what the hell? So then I like open it up and I see that I had ordered a belt, and on the shipping label or shipping invoice or whatever, it says that it's a belt. So I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, well, you know, nice for me because ordered a belt. Now I got like a $250+ crib. I'm going to exchange it, get a gift card just like at Kohl's. So to go to Target, it's freaking, as you know, and as we said, pouring down rain. And because I'm from California, I do not have my umbrella in the car. So I'm lugging this huge crib. And, you know, Target parking lot's not exactly front row. So I'm like walking 100 yards in the pouring down rain, like drenching, you know, soaking wet. Pull that thing up, and customer service, I'm like, you know, trying to, like, lying by omission by, like, just saying the least amount to, like, not be an actual liar. So, like, this showed up. I don't know what it is. It could be a gift, maybe da-da-da-da-da. And they're like, oh, you don't have a receipt? No, I don't. Oh, you don't have the... No, I don't. Well, sorry, there's nothing we can do for you. I'm like, you have to call customer service. Yeah.
First of all, I don't get that because...
Me too. I thought that was not Target's policy.
Yeah, because I thought you were allotted, like, I forget what the number is, but 2 or 3 a year where even if you don't have the receipt and they can't find it on your card, they'll give you store credit if they sell the item.
Maybe I've already used that. No, it's the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I definitely have not. I mean, I always have my receipt. I'm like... very organized with that. And I order everything online so you can like do all the returns. I don't know. But they were like, they didn't even bother looking it up or doing anything.
I think it's hilarious though, because you said that after they said no, you were like, yeah, anyway, it came instead of a belt. Like you fessed up.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, like I talked to the customer service people. I was on hold for like 40 minutes. No joke. as I'm walking through Target, hoping that maybe they're going to do something. And so I'm on hold for all this time. I live far away from a Target, Right. I live far away from freaking everything. So I'm like waiting in line, all this. And they're like, yeah, what you're going to do is you can just leave it there. Looks like there was a mix up. Just drop it off.
Oh,
and,
my God.
For all your troubles, we'll give you a $5 Target gift card. I was like, oh.
You should have kept it and sold it.
That's what I'm saying.
Damn.
And I should have just sold it on Let Go or like on Craigslist or something. And then, but this is whatever. This is like karma for the $30 that I got from Kohl's before. It all evens out now with my time.
What's that phrase you call it, though, where like, bank error in your favor?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I was just saying that the other day. Bank error in your favor. Shush. Yeah, one of the girls at the clinic, she like was over on hours. Like she was like, I don't know, these extra hours just showed up. And I was like, shh, bank error in your favor. You don't talk about that. You just go with it.
I just love that this stuff happens to you. And I really love that you saw that crib and thought that Landon was like, just really bad at buying gifts.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? I was like, okay, well, maybe that's like sweet because he's like trying to say like, let's start trying again, or like, what is this? And then part of me like, and it was like, it was cute. It would totally work. It was like this white crib, but then it was like a compact size, like a small crib. And I was like, well, no, that is a small room. I don't know what even like.
But. And then I love also that when you came in the house that Landon was like, do you have something to tell me?
Yeah, he was like, so. He like made a joke about it too. So,
I hope this stuff keeps happening to you because it really makes me laugh.
Don't worry. No problem. It will. This is story of Sarah's life.
Well, that would have been a terrible gift. One thing that is a great gift, as Sarah knows, is Rothy's shoes.
Oh my gosh, I have been talking about this to everyone recently.
Yeah. I never thought of shoes as a good gift, but you started giving these to your lady friends, and I think it's such a good idea.
The best. They all love them.
Right. And that's the thing is it's a guaranteed make someone happy gift because the shoes that you can get, they have different styles, but they're like the flat, the point, the loafer, the sneaker, and they have them in women's sizes and girls' sizes, but they're just really comfortable, but they look cute with everything, which never happens.
Can you like little Easter mom and daughter in the matching Rothys?
Oh my gosh, mommy and me
leopard
fashion
print ones and like these like new tiger print ones that are so cute.
Yeah, they're always launching new colors and patterns and stuff, so it's fun to check them out. And here's what I really love is that they're washable because then a lot of times you buy shoes and they get gross and then that's the end. But this, you can wash them and then they're literally as good as new. So that's what I love about them. And they're made from recycled plastic, so they're sustainable, good for the environment. And that's why I love Rothy's, and I know you will too. And right now, Rothy's has an amazing deal for our listeners. Just use code BRAINCANDY to get free shipping with no minimum, free shipping, free returns on or exchanges on your Rothy's shoes. But trust me, you won't return them. Go to rothys.com, ROTHYS.com, and enter BRAINCANDY to get your new favorite flats and free shipping. No brainers, shoes that are comfortable, stylish, and sustainable, and free shipping. Get yourself a pair today, rothys.com, promo code BRAINCANDY. Get the deal while it lasts.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay. Let me pull up my... okay. Let's see. Lots of things to talk about today. I read... you know what? I'll stay on the subject of fashion because you might have seen this recently in the news, which is... I don't know how this happens, but apparently a lot of fashion labels and whatever you'd call that... clothing and shoes, whatever, keep making crap that looks like blackface. Have you seen this?
My God. Gucci's stupid sweater?
Yes.
Holy crud. I couldn't believe this thing.
How does that happen?
How does that get down the line? Like, for real?
Right. Because we know how many people have to greenlight something.
Yep.
At a company like Gucci that's not like, whatever, just some lady in one...
So dumb.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're doing this to try that...
like no press is bad press.
Yeah. But that doesn't make sense because, freaking A.
So the sweater that Sarah's talking about was like kind of like a turtleneck that then you could pull up over your mouth, but it had a hole for your lips, but then it had like red around your lips. So it basically looked like true blackface from like the 1920s. And I don't even know who would wear something like that, A, and also it's racist.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think it could be possible that all those people did not notice what it looked like? Come on.
Oh, my God. I mean, it really shows that there's not a single person, do you have anyone who is black on your design team?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem. That I think that shows the need for, diversity and representation these businesses. Because that's like, and then, I remember when I worked for Gucci, this is like, the conspiracy theorist to me is like, what could be going on? Because when I worked for Gucci, they would have us, we would have team meetings. And I felt uncomfortable with the way that they talked about what they called, quote unquote, urban clientele. For real, Suze. And this was like 10 plus years ago. And I was like, And one of the guys, we had two guys on my team, on the sales team. I worked in menswear, and we had two guys with us who were black men, and they felt the same. I mean, we would talk about this, how we're like, that feels really, really uncomfortable, and you just have to. And, we just kept our mouth shut, And remember we were talking about regrets.
Yeah,
those are the things I've been thinking about that a lot. I think those are the times where I feel regrets for knowing what I know now. I should have absolutely.
I would agree with that. I've thought the same thing. Like, I would handle something differently now in that respect, like standing up for people and things like that.
Yeah, and I'd be like, okay, go ahead, fire me.
Right.
Fire me for saying that this is not an acceptable way to talk about a community.
Well,
and so then it makes me think that, are they trying to do something to dissuade that population from shopping there? So they can go back to it being a luxury brand.
Would they kind of talk about they didn't want urban clientele?
They were like, well, this is what they buy, and this is what everybody else buys.
Oh, no.
Yes, Suze.
Okay. That sucks.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I should have, Thank you for asking the follow-up questions, because
I didn't get that. I thought that they just sort of, acknowledged. I didn't realize they didn't maybe want those people buying it.
Well, it seemed like they were really...
They were very aware of...
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, back, in the early 2000s, I was what they call a fit model for a company. And, once I did that, I realized how many people are involved in a T-shirt or a pair of jeans. How many people look at it on a human body? Like, I'm just standing there in these jeans, and they all just sit there and talk about it. Is this right? Is that right? There's so many people, so many voices saying, what about this? What about this cut? Or is it the waist height? Whatever it is. So I cannot imagine, for example, there have been other things. Like Katy Perry has these little mule slippers, and they are pointy toe, and they are black, and I have a face on them. And she discontinued them this week. And
I have to see those.
Yeah, Google that. And
my gosh. Okay, let me
Grace Coddington, she worked for Vogue. She might still. She's very famous. She's been with them forever. And there was a picture of her. I think it was on Instagram, and in her house. And you could see on the shelf behind her the Mamie style pottery, like cookie jars or flower jar or whatever. And so the article that I was reading was saying that fashion in general has a real blind spot for racism. But I don't know how that is happening unless it's what you're saying, where they're just not hiring people of color, so there's nobody to be like, oh, that's super racist.
I think that's it. And those shoes do look
questionable.
Not okay. Yeah, they really do.
Especially because they're only in the color black.
Yeah, and I mean it's like black and nude, but it really does look like
mocking.
I mean, yeah, like what are they called? The
minstrel.
Yes, thank you, Susie.
And then there were Prada had these little kind of like keychains they would hang off of purses last year, and they looked like monkeys, and people were like, and they were like, what? This is not supposed to be representing. They truly seemed shocked that anyone would take that away from it. But now they've hired that Ava DuVernay, I think I'm saying that right?
Oh, I don't know.
To be a she makes all those TV shows. She's always working with Oprah. I think she produced that movie that Oprah was in. I'm pulling a Sarah right now.
Yeah, I love this.
I think it's at Ava on Twitter. She's super famous. You would know her to see. Anyway, she's going to be like a consultant for helping them be sensitive to racial issues, which I really appreciate.
Oh, yes. I know who she is. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
what does she make?
A Wrinkle in Time,
remember.
Selma. Yeah. Damn. She's got quite the track record, or quite the...
Yeah, she's
the
a badass
resume.
bitch.
Yeah, she is. Get a girl. Yeah, they need more people like that. They need they need to hire people who will be like, yo, white people, that's a dumb idea. Check yourself.
Yeah. Anyway, it's I don't know whether it's intentional for publicity or to lessen the quote unquote urban clientele, or if it's true ignorance. But whatever it is not good.
Right.
What is good is getting leggings that are adorable and not controversial in any way.
Oh yeah, totally not at all.
Fabletics. I hope people are taking advantage of this deal because they have so many different kinds of leggings that are super cute. They have all different styles and high-waisted and mid-rise and all this different stuff, but they look super cute even though they're super comfy. And so whether you're going to the gym or getting a cup of coffee, or even you could wear them with heels, I think. That's
my gosh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think leggings, heels, leather jacket, white T-shirt, it's perfect outfit.
Right?
And cute, your Rothy shoes. Hello.
Who's that gal, Olivia Newton-John in Greece, when she wore those leggings?
Yes. Tell me about it, stud.
Right. So here's the scoop. Go to fabletics.com/braincandy and you can take this 60-second style quiz, so they'll get the sense of like what you like to wear and what type of workout you might be doing. It, in my case, it's like not very much, just a little bit. But they'll tell you like what they recommend for you, and you can get 2 pairs of their leggings for only $24.
Come on.
I know. No brainer. It's a $99 value, and basically you're not going to want to take them off. That's my policy now. I've become a legging wearer. I never was before. I always thought they were too casual, but now they're so cute. But you go to fabletics.com/braincandy and you get those 2 pair of leggings for $24, $99 value.
Can't beat it with a stick.
When you sign up for the VIP situation. And their mission is to empower women by making a healthy, active lifestyle accessible to everyone. And I really like that. They have a affordable price point. And
look good.
Check it out, fabletics.com/braincandy. Okay. Did you read about the Chinese video game called Chinese Parents?
No, I did not.
This is
Chinese Parents.
Chinese Parents. It's all the rage in Asia, where you have to raise your little digital baby from the cradle to college, I guess, without, screwing them up or...
Good luck.
I think it's so funny because you know those little things, probably when you were little, they had them.
Yes, Tamagotchis.
Yeah, did you have one?
Oh, I sure did. Mine always died.
So I never had one. It was like before or after my time. So what was that about? It was the same idea, right?
Yeah, so it was this little keychain that looked like an egg, and you'd get it, and your little animal would hatch, and you would have a few little buttons on this little egg that would be like, feed it, or take it for a walk, or whatever you do. And if you forgot to do that, then it would die or get sick, or I can't remember if there was like a reset or bring it back to life mode, or if you just had to buy a new one.
A whole new thing?
Because that would be genius if they made it so. Oh.
I just wonder why this is like a thing in Asia, though, where child rearing is gameplay. Why do you think?
I mean, is this just a digitalized version of playing with dolls?
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that it is, but then if we really unpack this is deep, because then I think, okay, if this is that, and if this is a substitution for, instead of having a little baby doll that you play with and play house with or whatever, you have your little online pet or your little Tamagotchi, because it was pretty much the same age. Like, I was about 7 or 8 when I was playing with this thing, where I could be playing house or doing that. And I wonder if when it is on a screen, you lose that like nurturing part, where you're not like holding it and loving it. It becomes more of a task, like check the box because you have to feed it. And then it's like, oh my gosh, yeah. Does the purpose of parenting, is it to just keep the thing alive, or to comfort it and love it?
It's more than that, though, because you can't screw it up either. Like, it can't end up in jail or...
Like, what? I feel like, is this like a choose your own adventure book where, like, you get the option and it's like, okay, how are you going to deal with it? He got an A-.
Kind of.
Are you going to beat him up, or are you going to say do better next time?
Yeah. It's like that.
Well, then maybe this is teaching good parenting skills.
Well, and it seems that the people playing it aren't kids. It's older kids, or, teenagers and young adults.
Well, do you think it could be a substitution for, what's the population? Oh my God, I was just watching something last night on China and how the government there is like forcing women to have babies.
Yeah, things have really gone haywire.
It's really,
in that
really
department.
bad. It's really bad.
A lot of the kids that were interviewed in the New York Times about this said, though, that it helped them understand their parents more.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Did they say what it was that they understood? What?
They said that when they were growing up, their parents were hard on them and were always pushing them, and they didn't really appreciate why. And now they're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Oh, my gosh.
I play this game.
Man, that's good then.
Yeah, it's just curious trend to me. It seems fine. It doesn't seem like a problem, but it just seems odd to me that this is how they find entertainment, because I would not find that fun.
No, and I'm also not one of those people who enjoys like Second Life or what's that other one, that
SimCity or something.
SimCity or anything like that. It's I find it really interesting that people can be very when I think about playing video games, and especially when you're in like a first person player like game where any of those Fortnite or any of those shooting games or whatever, or even something like SimCity or Sim Life or whatever they are, that you're in a way being very, very mindful as you play. You're playing with intention. You're very in the moment. You're not thinking about what happened 10, 15 minutes ago in the game or what's going to happen in the next level. You're like in the moment.
Okay.
And how we live mindfully when we're using these avatars. But then when we stop and we're in our regular life, we don't.
Why do you think that is?
I think people forget what it is about that video game, or don't realize what it is about the video game that they enjoy, how it's like you do have to be in the moment, and there are struggles, and then you overcome them, or you beat the level, and even if it's difficult, you keep trying and you keep going and you keep doing it. And it would be so great if we applied those same concepts to regular life and like almost think of it as, a video game.
Why do you think, though, that it's so hard to do that in real life?
I think there are so many distractions, and there are so many things that keep us in the past or in the future. I'm worried about this. I should have done this. You see commercials that, whatever it is. Oh my gosh, I didn't save enough. Oh my gosh, I need to check my, I don't know, insurance, whatever it is. Like, look at all these things I could be dying from on the commercials of this and this and this drug.
Is this thought about the when you're playing games, you're in the moment? Is that your theory, or you read something about it?
No, that's just like my theory, and I feel like, you know, that is how you are when you play games.
I'm surprised you're not into video games. You seem like the type.
I am into certain ones. Like, when I find one that I really love, I'll play that for a while. But now the new ones, they move so fast. They kind of make they make me dizzy. They give me like motion sickness.
You're getting old.
I know. I think so.
I wish I'm one of those people that grew up with the very simple controllers, and it just seems like there's too many buttons now.
There are.
I don't know what to do with them all.
Did I tell you about the time where I went over to a friend's house and with their kids, and I came in like real hot to the video game, like, oh yeah, I'm going to beat everybody, and I didn't even get like, I mean,
because
they laughed
of
me.
the buttons.
Yeah,
it's too much,
and everything was so different. I used to be so good at video games.
Right, you have to get those like retro ones, the vintage throwbacks.
Like, my left and right hand do not coordinate in the way that they need to for these new video games. So, get my butt kicked by 7-year-olds.
I know. We have to just stick with board games.
Yeah, there we go.
We know what we're good at.
Yeah, except your kid beats me at Clue, so I don't know what I got anymore.
My God. And now my kid got, so we had the Clue Junior, which I think is what we played with you, and then you got us the normal Clue. Mm-hmm. And he's still good.
I can't believe it. I could not believe that.
He doesn't win anymore, but he still plays at the same level as me and Adam.
Wow.
I can't believe it.
But it's good he doesn't win.
Well, yeah, no, and I'm not letting him. That's for fucking sure.
But you know what? He will soon.
I know. I'm trying to
enjoy those moments while you got him, because, God, I can't believe when he beat me in that game. I was like, I know I'm winning, and then he beat me.
I know.
So annoyed.
Wasn't it that you guessed wrong, though, or something?
Yep.
Yeah. The preemptive
didn't have all
guessing.
the info, and then he looked at me and was like,
sucker.
Amateur. Rookie mistake.
Okay, changing the subject. Mm-hmm. I've read this super great article about something I had never thought of, which is that court reporters or stenographers should have to be trained in quote-unquote black English.
Oh.
Where what's happening, someone did a study, is that the court reporters and the stenographers do not understand what's being said by some of the people on trial and some of the witnesses and people that are speaking in a vernacular that is not sort of the Queen's English.
Yeah.
And so they're making mistakes. And those mistakes have implications about sentencing.
Absolutely they do.
And I never thought about it.
Oh my God, those little things. And also, oh my God, that's very important.
Right?
You're almost getting since they're writing in shorthand, you're getting an abbreviated version based on the opinion of the stenographer.
Yes.
Ooh, that could be dangerous.
Yeah, and sort of their interpretation of what they heard, which isn't actually what was said.
Yeah. Did they give any examples?
Yeah, they did, although I don't remember them because I don't understand Black English either. And so it gave specific ways that the English language is used and the way words mean different. Oh, wait, let me try to think of the one.
Yeah.
It was like something about the time where if they said this sentence, it means we always do this on Sunday. Versus we're doing this right now, or we did this on one Sunday. I never heard of it and would never know either. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, heck yeah, this needs to be a thing. If the stenographer doesn't know that means one thing, it could change the entire situation.
Well, I'm even reminded of, and I don't think it just pertains to, the Black community. I think there are a lot of different communities with their own way, I'm even thinking of your husband and like all of
right.
the stuff that we were talking about a couple weeks ago about like how this is actually rude. And,
Yeah, because we like to think as human beings that if we look at something, for example, that I see the same thing that you see, or that I hear the same thing you hear, and that is just not the case.
Not the case at all.
And we're really drawn to that idea because humans want stability and certainty and truth, but that's really a fluid thing.
Yes. Ooh. So what's their solution?
Just that there could be classes taught to the people doing this work so that they have a better understanding of the way language is constructed in these other communities beyond their own. One thing that is given a lot of time to construct is Joybird furniture. Mm-hmm. Don't I know it?
But not more time than the other ones because that stuff arrived pretty quickly for me.
No, right. I just mean that the craftsmanship is really solid. And that's one thing, like when this is an online furniture company, when you're looking at it, it's beautiful, the colors are great, and you can customize the furniture to your preferences. But I can also confirm, because I own them and use them in my house, that it's super solid construction. And that's not always the case. We talked about that a few weeks ago about online shopping. You can make mistakes.
Totally true. Good point.
But this is really strong, really beautiful. It will last your lifetime. And like I said, you can customize it. And it's kid-friendly and it's pet-friendly. They have different upholstery options to accommodate those needs. And it looks great on Instagram. Like
as you can see on my Instagram feed, all my beautiful furniture.
It's just, I always have this thing where I'm like, they just don't make things like they used to. Well, Joybird actually does.
Yep.
So you can see how Joybird is revolutionizing online furniture shopping. Create the furniture that brings you joy. Spark some joy today at joybird.com/braincandy. Go to joybird.com/braincandy and receive an exclusive offer for 25% off your first order by using code BRAINCANDY. joybird.com/braincandy, and that's code BRAINCANDY as well for 25% off. I just wanted to add about that sort of Black English thing. In the project that I'm doing with the criminals, that sometimes I'll try to find certain people's Facebook page. If they're a lesser known, newer criminal, you can often find that they have a Facebook page and they're often public rather than private. And reading through some of those posts, I got the same. That's what reminded me that I had read that article, because I was like, I'm not sure what this post says because I'm not familiar with that slang or the verbiage. And I really wish I could. Like, if you could take a class in Black English, I would love to do that. Just
know more.
Yeah, know more. Yeah.
Also, I feel like sometimes when I'm hanging around your family, I need a class in Pittsburgh English. So, so I'm like, pull, what are they saying?
Right. I mean, it does really go beyond just race or, whatever. It's where you grew up and who you're married to, all that stuff. I feel like you don't have an accent, though.
A lot of people ask me if I'm from the Midwest or like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that. The one word you say that I think is funny is milk.
Milk.
Because you say it like with an A almost.
With an E. Milk.
Or an E, yeah.
I do. Yeah, with an E.
Why do you think
milk,
that is?
Pillow. I don't know.
Every time you say it tickles me.
And I am definitely one of those people who I like absorb the accents of anybody I'm hanging around. It's like the empathy in me.
Yeah,
the empathy part of me where I can't help it. I just start talking like whoever is around me. So
I noticed that whenever I was with Kahada, that I was more inclined to have a little bit of a twang.
Yep. Or say things like, well, does a duck with one leg swim in a circle? Yes, it does, Kahada. Yes, it does.
Sort of combining our two topics of fashion and people of color. Yeah. I read this awesome article in the New York Times about, it was an op-ed from a Black woman who was saying that her mom wears fur, and that it shouldn't be viewed as, you know, how people are down on fur right now, because people perceive it as cruel to wear. And she was arguing that basically as soon as black people were able to start getting to a point where they could afford fur, then white people were like, nope, it's terrible, you shouldn't wear it.
Gosh.
What's your thought on that?
Yeah, you know, I can see that. I kind of do feel like, who are we to say, you know?
Well,
like,
I do wonder, as I was reading the article, I was like, why is the fur thing such a big deal, but leather isn't?
That's true.
Is there
That's
a reason?
really
Is
true.
it seem as less humane for some reason?
I have no idea. I do not know about any of this stuff with the
right.
And you know, I don't have any friends who are real like fur activists or.
Well, there's
you know,
nobody wearing
PETA.
fur out here because it's never cold enough.
That's true. That's totally true.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah, so I don't really know about all that, or I've never even had conversations about that out here.
Right. It's sort of like, yeah, I don't buy fur. I mean, I never really had to come to some conclusion about it. I just never bought it.
But I just feel like white people should not tell any person of color how to live their life for at least the next 1,000 to 2,000 years.
Yeah. Right.
You know,
2,000
like, can it?
Well, I also read an article kind of on the same subject about cashmere and how cashmere becoming so popular has become kind of a problem for the whatever sheep that make the cashmere, because it's a very specific process.
I don't know anything about that either. Is it a specific sheep? Is it or is it a different animal?
No, I mean, I suppose there are different kinds, but it's sheep, but it's certain ones, and we're kind of overusing it. Yeah. And so we're kind of like running out, and it's becoming like a problem, and you just never think. This is why they tell you to be more aware as a consumer of what you're buying. It's hard to keep up, though.
Oh, my God. It is so true. And what's the solution? To raise the price of cashmere, or...
Some companies are creating types that are more sustainable and that are more responsible, and it probably is pricier. But it's also one of those things where it's like white people problems or like wealthy people problems or something. Yeah. Where, okay, yeah, if you have all the time in the world to find the perfect cashmere outlet.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm sorry, but it all felt like a little like much.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
But I would like to find out, though, what is the is leather, do they kill them better?
Yeah, or like, is the leather that we use because we eat a lot of beef. Right. So what do they do with all those hides? Is this like a nice reusable,
right? Like they use
program?
All the parts.
Yeah, maybe like we don't use this, so we send it to the leather companies, and then they use it. And
the op-ed about fur though was sort of being like, they go into these minks or whatever the heck they are, go into this room where they're gassed. And what? Yeah, that's how they kill them.
Like the animal goes into a room and it's... Okay. Oh, right, because they can't have any... Oh, Jesus. Ugh.
And so it said it took about a minute or 2 minutes for the whole thing to...
Oh, that's a lot of suffering.
Sarah.
I know.
But it also pointed out how in the black community... there's still a tradition of dressing up for church, and when you go to a funeral, you wear your fur, or you wear your best hat, and there's more of a sense of like doing things properly in that way, and that there's a bigger legacy than just conspicuous consumption. Here's this fur.
I was just going to say, it's like I think the consumption level is lower too. It's like one thing when you're like, you've got that piece that's used for those special occasions, and it's real important to you. Maybe it's been handed down to you. It's like it's like almost like an heirloom, because those jackets will say stay so nice. But if you've got like closets full of them, and like F you.
I didn't even know this, that apparently at Barney's or Nordstrom or somewhere, probably Barney's. They have a room where if you have a fur coat, you can rent like a spot on the rack, and it's a climate controlled room so that in the summer your fur doesn't get ruined.
Oh my God.
Who knew?
God.
Can you believe that?
Imagine if that was the biggest problem you had, worrying if your furs get ruined during the sweltering heat. God.
Right.
I'm on vacation and, wherever, so I'm not going to need this fur.
Right. So I did learn a lot. I will tell you that. I don't know how I feel about fur, but I did learn a lot.
Yeah. Well, I have a nice artificial or faux leather or leather and leopard jacket, and I'll proudly wear that. Yeah, I got a big fuzzy leopard jacket a little bit ago. I love it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Remember when we went out and I was like, hey, should I get one of those big jackets? Are they cool? And you were like, well, they're on trend.
That's true. That's true. Very stylish. And
Super.
it's kind of still cold out, so
it definitely is. I went to go put the jacket on as I was like going to the clinic the other day, and I was like, this is too much. Nobody wants a therapist in that looks like I could also be in a music video.
Yeah. Pump the brakes on that fashion.
Yeah.
Also, pump the brakes on high interest rates.
Yeah, enough of those.
Enough of those. I know a lot of people are sick and tired of paying high interest rates on their credit cards, if they even know what their interest rates are. Are you sick and tired of paying high interest rates on your credit cards? Want to consolidate multiple credit card payments down to one payment at a lower rate? Then Lightstream is a no-brainer. You can refinance your credit card balances with a credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream. You get a rate as low as 6.14% APR with autopay. There are 0 fees. You can apply online in minutes. So easy, you don't even need to leave your house. And if you want to save even more, our listeners get an additional interest rate discount. The only way to get the discount is to go to lightstream.com/braincandy. lightstream.com/braincandy. Subject to credit approval. Rate includes 0.50% autopay discount. Terms and conditions apply. And offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/braincandy for more information.
Sweet deal.
Sweet deal.
Remember how we were talking? Well, I was inspired or reminded of a story, and then went and researched it to find out was this true? Remember how we had the guy on here talking about food and people's eating habits?
Yeah,
that was so great. By the way, I loved hearing what he had to say.
Yeah.
So thank you for that wonderful interview, Susie.
Of course.
Then it reminded me of a story I had heard a long time ago about the inventor of Vaseline.
Yes, I'm into it.
Yes.
No,
okay,
I haven't heard. I'm just excited.
You haven't heard of this story?
No.
Okay, so his name was Sir Robert Chesebrough, something like that, Chesebrough. He started his career as a chemist who was refining oil from sperm whales, and from that he discovered petroleum. And then he refined it or whatever he did, and he made petroleum jelly, which then he named Vaseline. And he was taking it around to chemist shops, and everybody is this new invention that will protect you from burns and cuts or whatever and heal your skin. And everybody was like, no. So he went to New York to demonstrate the product, and he had this large crowd. I don't know where this was. Maybe it's some sort of medical device convention that they had in the 1860s. And in front of this huge crowd, he burnt his skin over a flame or acid or whatever, and then applied this petroleum jelly over it to demonstrate look at how it'll heal it. And then in 1870, he finally was able to patent it, and it became more popular, and he was talking about it, and he claimed and that he had so much faith in the product, he ate a spoonful of it every morning.
No.
And apparently this is a real thing. And he lived to be 96 years old.
What? Wait,
Yeah.
Why was he eating it, though?
He said that it, was a healthy item and didn't have anything bad in it. And, I don't know if it was, coated the lining of your stomach so it made digestion easier. But who knows? For him, he ate a frickin' spoonful of it every morning.
Do you think that it was the same as the stuff you could buy now?
Yes.
No.
Totally. 100%. It's the same thing.
Recipe.
Yep.
You could eat that?
Yes, you can. In fact, I think I have eaten it.
Why?
I think when I was little, I definitely, my aunt or grandma or whoever always had me keep a jar of Vaseline in my nightstand to put on my nails when I went to bed for like soft cuticles. I don't do that. I should though, because I have dry cuticles. Maybe that was like a family thing that they were like trying to, warn me about. You need this. Your hands are going to be dry as fuck when you're old.
Hint, hint.
Hint, hint. And I should have listened. But, so I think when I was little, like, I don't know. I definitely was like a kid who ate stuff. And so, yeah.
Wait a minute.
That's even how I learned
this is raising questions for me about, I get that you would call it Vaseline, but that sounds like gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe
what
it's
is
because it's from oil.
Yeah, but then what's the V from?
Friggin' A, I don't know.
No, it made me think because I've never thought about how it sounds like gasoline and it's petroleum.
Vaseline. Yeah. Oh,
that's cute,
good point.
but it seems like they combined words like something with a V and then gasoline, but what the heck's the V word? I'm going to look that up.
I don't know. It was discovered in Titusville, Pennsylvania, so...
Hey, now.
It's not the name of the town it was discovered. We know that.
So what do you think when he made that? What do you think made him realize, like, this is good for stuff?
Maybe the consistency. Maybe he had, like, I don't know, cuts on his hands or something. And then, it's weird, though.
That really is. A lot of those stories of where stuff came from are so fun because it's never, like, intentional. Now people are always trying to develop stuff. Back then it always felt serendipitous.
What do you mean by that?
Like they just sort of happen upon.
Yeah, like penicillin or right. didn't like something about cornflakes getting invented like that or.
Yeah, I mean that guy was more into like he really was trying to figure out how to make money on stuff and good health and wellness.
Yeah,
it's weird how that breakfast cereal came from that looking for something to be easy on the stomach.
Yeah, is that it? There's like all these stories of where those things came from that are like. Serendipitous. Oh, and even the microwave. We were talking about that. How they accidentally invented the microwave.
Is this one of those times where I learned something and then now I'm learning it again and I'm excited all over?
Yeah. Yep. How the guy stood in front of some radiation thing and he had a chocolate bar in his pocket and it melted. And he was like, wait a sec.
Ringing a bell.
Yeah. And then they were like, I think there's something to this. And then they started inventing the microwave.
See, I'm grateful for all those accidents. Happy accidents.
Right?
Yeah.
I wonder what happy accident will be next.
Right. That's what I mean. I think it's less common now because people are so desperate to find stuff to make money that they tend to be like, let's find this thing. And then they'll just not rest until they do.
Yeah. Oh, well, good on you.
I tried to, you know how kids are super into making slime now?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, we got this kit from, when you redeem your tickets at like Chuck E. Cheese or wherever.
Yes.
And we got this slime making kit and it was terrible.
Oh, I knew you would hate this.
Well, I would have loved it if it was really good and made good slime, but it was just a mess.
Was it too sticky?
Yeah, like it wouldn't come off your hands.
Oh, no. Yeah. You need more borax or something.
More borax. Okay.
I don't know the recipe, but I feel like you can make it's like glue.
Yeah.
And laundry detergent.
Oh.
And paint and something else.
Well, because this was an official kit, so it was like not telling, like it would say, slime glue, and then add the activator.
Right, which is the borax, yeah.
Right. But
then,
I don't know how this became a thing all of a sudden.
I think it started with those ASMR videos.
No.
Yeah, I think the sound of that slime and stuff, and then it kind of grew from there, and then it became, and kids love anything that their parents don't want them to play with. And it's every parent's nightmare to have slime stuck to the carpet.
Right.
So they're like, oh, yeah. I mean, Landon's little sister,
I
think she's like 11 or 12 now, but she's been into this for a long time, and I love it. She makes these little videos and posts them on her Instagram.
Oh, that's cute.
And I honestly listen to them as like ASMR videos to go to bed because there's something extra relaxing about a voice that I recognize, and something about how she does it is so relaxing to me. Wow. And then I got a message from her mom that she had watched something on like the news about this, and she was like, oh my God, you're right. And I was like, yeah, I know. Thank you. Me and your daughter have been talking about this for years because her mom doesn't have like the ASMR tingly thing, but the daughter and I totally do.
Oh, and the daughter has it.
Yes, and we're talking about it like she's so much like me. It's like not even funny. And So, we're talking about how much we love it, and the parents are like, what the heck are they talking about? And yeah, I think it started from all the ASMR stuff.
Wow. Who knew? That is
But that's
crazy.
just my guess,
That makes sense, though, because it did seem to come out of nowhere that, or maybe that combined also with Pinterest.
Yeah.
Because people started posting like the homemade recipes for the slime.
Yeah.
And so then I think that helped to make it spread.
And it's like a activity. We were making slime since, I was a camp counselor at a day camp for the YMCA when I was like 14. And we made this with the kids then. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it used to be called gack.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, so it was like we're making gack.
Oh my God, that's cute.
Which is a way cooler word.
It is. Slime is not the best word.
Were there branding problems with gack? they needed to rebrand it?
Another great word is stamps. Stamps.com, as a matter of fact. And why I love it is because you don't have to leave your house to your office in order to ship all your stuff. So all of my letters that I send to, my penitentiary pals.
Oh my gosh, so great.
All of our book club stuff that I have to send out, it all comes from stamps.com, and I don't even have to leave my office. So I just print out the postage. You can calculate it exactly so you're not going to overpay for any package, letter, or class of mail right from your computer and printer. Put it on the package and then throw it in your mailbox, and then just goodbye, and there it is at the person's house. Mm-hmm. And with stamps.com, you save 5 cents off every first class stamp and up to 40% off priority mail. Come on.
Yes.
It's a no-brainer. That's why I use stamps.com. It's so convenient and easy. And right now, our listeners get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. See for yourself why over 700,000 small businesses use stamps.com. Just go to stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in Brain Candy. That's stamps.com, and enter Brain Candy. Sarah, we have a guest today.
Oh, I love a guest.
I think you're going to be very excited.
Yes, tell me everything.
This guy, Dr. Chris Donahue, is the author of a book called Rebel Love, Breaking the Rules, Break the rules, destroy toxic habits, and have the best sex of your life.
Well, okay.
If you say so.
Sold.
He hosts the Amber Rose Show with Dr. Chris. Yes, the #1 podcast in sex and dating. And here's what's really cool about him. He is one of these people that's like, self-acceptance is everything. Anonymous sex can be a relationship in and of itself. Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, that's shocking.
I love this. I can't wait to hear everything he has to say.
And he is a person that says sexuality is fluid. So he's all for, like, stop putting labels on stuff. Do whatever you want as long as it's consensual, and everyone's having fun. There are no rules, which, I'm interested in hearing his point of view. And you know what? Controversially, he believes that there's not something called sex addiction, which surprised me. Which, don't you think that's surprising?
Well, it's not in the DSM because the DSM agrees.
That it's why is that? How is that possible?
Well, usually, if from what we learn is a lot of times things like quote unquote sex addiction comes from early childhood exposure to almost like hypersexualization at a young age and brain mapping kind of getting confused.
Yeah.
Like sexualization on a brain that is too young to really understand that, and that it's not like another addiction where you're like genetically predisposed to alcoholism, say. It has more to do, it's more of environmental and
so you would say it's more of like a habit,
circumstantial. Yeah, kind of like that. And you can work to break those, and really it's like a self-worth thing, that total self-acceptance is really important because the need, the intention, the need for the sex is different when it's like, I need this because I don't love myself and I need to get love from sex versus I am a sex positive person who loves myself and I'm going to make healthy choices and, enter into a relationship because it feels good and because it's consensual and, it's not doing anything, it's not harming me or there's nothing negative coming from it. But if you go into that with like this need to fill a hole that can't be filled and you just think like, I don't mean that sexually. I mean that like, this part of you that you're like looking for something because there's something missing that you'll never get that from sexual encounters. You need to first look at yourself and what's going on in your life and how can you have fulfillment in your life and then include the sex and the relationships and all that. But if your life is fulfilled, then go out, get it, do it. It's like what's that driving force? And if there's shame and all that comes with it, then you got to explore that.
Well, Dr. Chris is definitely in agreement with you about being sex positive and to not having that shameful experience with regard to sexuality. So it was really fun to talk to him, and I think his message is important. So, again, his book is called Rebel Love, Break the Rules, Destroy Toxic Habits, and Have the Best Sex of Your Life. It's a tall order, but welcome Dr. Chris to the show. All right, Dr. Chris, you're on the spot here on Brain Candy. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I am totally intrigued by your whole career, so I don't know how to begin. But let's start with Rebel Love, the book that you have coming out, and why you decided to write it.
Yeah, so the book dropped last week, and, I guess naively, I sometimes feel as though we've made a lot of progress. And then I have these profound moments, whether it's, people calling into my radio show or the podcast or just out in the world at a dinner party, which PS is where I get some of the best, best stuff, right? It's so real. Because I literally, without fail, every dinner party, someone pulls me aside at some point and they're like, hey, can I ask you something? I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go.
The confessional.
So it totally is like, no matter where I am, it becomes one. So I just wanted to create a resource that was really accessible, that kind of called out a lot of the problems and try to, provide solutions, because one of the main theses of my book is just that, when people follow the standard norms of what are expected within sex and dating, they're bad, they're wrong, they're outdated. And so just trying to kind of create a new, better vision.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of your goal is about undoing crappy stuff that we've all bought into for a really long time. Yes. And that's a big job.
It's a big job, and the work never stops, because so many people's careers, without even meaning to, kind of reinforce a lot of the problems. And so there's a lot of great people doing a lot of great work within sex, dating, psychology, relationships. But there's also a lot of people who built careers and platforms on just keeping the same problematic, ideas going. And so that throws us off. I mean, we have the shows like The Bachelor, which is just so problematic. And, it's sexist. It sets men and women up to feel as though they have to compete and as though there's not enough for everyone. And we're throwing people under the bus. And then I see this work by some of these celebrities who, I don't know why, but pull stuff out of their ass, and they write these dating books or these dating coaches that are just so sexist, and they're throwing feminism and women like decades behind with telling them that they have to, act a certain way to earn a man or to be taken seriously, and they have to delay having sex or else they're not wife material. And it's like, it's 2019.
Right.
And it's all about sexual empowerment for everyone, but it's also about getting away from sexism and gender norms. And I'm a big advocate for women's sexual empowerment. And that means being seen as not quote unquote wife material, because they don't want a traditional husband who demands things like that to be taken seriously. And so my work is very sex positive, body positive. And again, just trying to push us forward.
Yeah, I started to read your book this weekend, and I was so impressed with it and just the message in general. I'm hoping that it gets absorbed into the ethos. But like I said, you have your work cut out for you, because this is ingrained in our culture and our systems. And so what's like a practical way that we can sort of spread the word? I mean, you're doing God's work by writing these books, but how can normal people just sort of take on this message?
There's a couple ways. Number one, and I try to highlight this in the book, but also just no matter where I am, that social media is such a powerful influencer for how we see ourselves, how we see other people, what we think is desirable and sexy and hot. And so just pay attention to what you're immersing yourself in, because it's not just this page I follow on Instagram. It's this page and other pages that I'm seeing many hours a day, and they are constructing for me an understanding of who I need to be and how and what people want. And so unfollow some of that crap. Like I tell people, unfollow things that make you feel bad, unfollow things that don't reflect back your values and ethics and who you want to be. And then the second piece is also really pay attention to your social network. And that kind of comes up with advice that they give, but also even body positivity, where I say to people, tell your friends, let's stop talking about our bodies in diet culture, or let's start talking to each other from our best. Let's not keep the bar low. Like, hold me accountable to doing better. Don't let me off the hook so much. Or let's not call other people slutty because they're sexually empowered. Like, it's all about just, again, taking control over the environment you're around. And so I always say zero in on the social piece, friends, and also social media.
That is such good advice. And it really does disturb me that, like, when we describe this system that's sort of sexist, but then you see that, for example, with The Bachelor or the diet conversations, women are often immersed in it and like supportive of it, even though it works against their interests. And yes. I'm wondering why you think that's the case.
I think a lot of people don't know that there's other options or other visions or other ways to be. For some people, some of these healthier concepts that people like me and other people are trying to put out there, they're foreign to people because they don't have access to them. There's nothing else in their life that's telling them things like, it's okay to be fat. It's okay to love your fat body. It's okay to have sex with the body you currently have. It's okay if you're a female to ask for the sex you want or to carry condoms, and for the guy to think maybe you're quote unquote slutty because you practice sexual health and wellness. So it's, again, like people aren't aware or they don't have good role models. And so they're trapped in just the same repetitive thinking. And that's why I go after the people that are responsible for that. I will call out authors and dating coaches and TV shows that are not providing these better perspectives and options. And I think that's why I love still practicing as a therapist, is that I get to help hold people's hands through that and remind them that there's other ways to be and that there's other people living that and doing it in sustainable, awesome ways. Or I can remind them that I'm working with a multitude of people that do want something better and different, and that the whole world doesn't operate the way that they thought it had. And so again, I think it's just that they haven't really encountered or had experience with other ways of thinking or seeing. I mean, I didn't. It took me a lot of work to live in the world in the way I did, and I had to read a lot. And that's number one thing. People have to read more. You have to find resources and immerse yourself for hours in new thinking. Again, the world will not provide it and hand it out freely and easily. The world will pull you back from that. I mean, that's what's my most profound teacher is some of the authors I read. And without them, I'd be trapped thinking like most people.
Well, you, even though your book is new, you've been preaching this message for a long time.
Yes.
And I imagine you get trolled. Do you get a lot of backlash?
I do. You know, it's fascinating. So when it first started happening, it was against my sex positivity and how I promote people having the sex they want, because that's just part of self-esteem. I'm pro-porn. I'm pro-sex worker. I'm pro-trans. Like, I'm pro anything minority. I'm anti any form of oppression. And so I'd get trolled and people would say, like, you are responsible single-handedly for the demise of our culture, you know? And it's like, wow, that's a profound statement. But okay, thanks for, seeing me so empowered. But a couple of things I learned quickly. So through some of the friends I have that have far larger platforms than I have, they've reminded me that, if it hurts, then you need more of it, because it means you haven't gotten trolled enough. And when you put yourself out there, expect a lot of it. And so get ready, see every troll as a gift of like hardening you up a little bit. But also more importantly, they were like, and this was so profound, that means you're doing good work, because you're trying to challenge what the majority of our culture does and thinks. And so you need that. And if you're not getting trolled or pushed back, you're probably not being as radical or as revolutionary as you want to be or think you are. Because for me, I'm trying to rattle it. I'm trying to shake the cage. Like, I want people to be challenged and uncomfortable. And so the trolling's a sign that, like, I'm fucking doing it.
Well, and I'm sure you hear a lot of the other side too, where people say you changed my mind and you had an influence on me. So that's probably more rewarding.
It really is. And that's probably the most beautiful thing of all that I do. And somehow magically the universe will often send me that email or that tweet or that DM on the day when I need it most, where I'm tired. I'm not feeling motivated. I don't think like I'm doing enough. I don't think my work's impactful. I think the whole world's going to shit. And then that little email comes in from someone in usually some foreign country or small, inaccessible rural area. And they say something like, thank you for doing the work you do. I feel less alone, or thank you for helping me learn to love myself finally. And just this simple statement of impacting this one person so profoundly is so motivating. And it's such a gift that I get to have. And you as well, like you're doing media as well. And so we have to remind ourselves that we're important for people and people need us to exist. And I hope you get feedback as well, but it's those little moments that keep me going.
Yeah. I mean, that makes it all worth it, but you're, in this field that is so, people take it so seriously and get so mad about it. And so I imagine that your haters are really noisy. And like whenever you're saying like, hey, people should have sex as often or as little as they want to, and just go with what meets their needs, that to them is what are they so scared of?
Scared. It's twofold. So there's the people in my own field that have never thought outside the box because, in psychology, you're raised to believe there's a truth, and that truth is created by white, cis, hetero men. And so it's aligned with what they want and what they think and what they see. And these younger generations, I love them, are having none of it. They are like, I am no gender. I'm every gender. Forget sexism. Like, it's so profound looking at the millennials and what they're doing. So long story short, my field is nervous because they're used to being so powerful and they're used to being a quote unquote expert. And people like me are taking the power away from them. And we're making them work harder and we're making them think deeper and more powerfully. But then there's also celebrities like Piers Morgan, who I've gotten into a couple Twitter battles with, who just...
He's the worst.
God bless him. He is the worst. He's an example of like what I'm trying to get us away from, because that man just wants everything centered around the way he sees the world. He doesn't want to center anything that's not male driven. You know what I mean? Like he loves that sexism. He doesn't like anything that's not heterosexually centric because he thinks anything outside of that is just problematic and pathological. And, he's just holding on tightly, God bless him. And so it's people like him, those are the loud ones, but they just make me work harder.
Sometimes I wonder with people like him, I'm thinking, do they really believe this drivel, or did they just see it as a way to make their career last 5 more minutes?
Yeah, it's definitely required because someone like him otherwise would be so neutral and not get as much attention.
Yeah. Because
nothing else he's doing is that meaningful. And I think it becomes a trap because he gets so much attention, albeit negatively most of the time, but it feeds the ego. And so it becomes his branding. And when you're in the media, your branding is everything and you really start to buy into it. And so he would lose a lot of this if he didn't about face and decided to be a really compassionate, intelligent person. So it's all tied in for sure. It's heartbreaking. I can't imagine building a career on perpetuating hate and oppression.
Yeah, I mean, he's a small man, but regardless, let's focus on the positive here.
Yes.
One of the things in your book that I was surprised to see was when you talk about sexuality being having fluidity.
Right.
And I'm wondering, tell me more about that. What is your view?
Yeah. So one thing I've realized through doing this work for going soon on like 2 decades and having worked with hundreds upon hundreds of hours of people's sexuality and touring the country is that everyone's more sexually fluid than they realize. Even the people that are so confident in who they are sexually. Again, I speak broadly. I'm not talking just what we traditionally call sexual orientation, which is just like what gender you like. I mean, in the most broad of all broad senses, very few of us have been able to either honestly with ourselves acknowledge all the different kinds of things that turn us on, all the different things, scenarios, sights, smells, sounds. But we also, if we've been able to do that work, which again, few have, we also struggle in our culture to really proudly ask for that or to seek that or to create that with our partners, because our sexuality in our culture, we're hyper obsessed with sex, but we're also so afraid and avoidant of it that we don't know how to properly put it out there. And so everyone I work with, part of our work has been about them really fully embodying their totality of sexuality, because we can't have full on self-esteem if we don't have all parts of ourselves acknowledged and the shame removed. And sex is always the one area that exists still. And so we're bigger than we think we are. And I think part of working on yourself therapeutically or trying to understand who you are is doing the sexual piece. And again, that's always left out as not meaningful or relevant. And it is. And so I want my work and my book to have people just carry that question forward and say to themselves, what part of my sexuality have I not acknowledged to myself or to other people? What are the things that turn me on or things I want to try or do, which aren't just these small little things like, oh, the thing I do in the bedroom. Our sexuality is with us all day long. You know, I tell people your sexuality and eroticism is what you chose to wear today. That's your sexuality. It's how close you stand to someone in line at the coffee shop, or if you make eye contact or if you don't. It's how you talk to people. It's always operating on us. It's always engaged. Our fantasy life is always moving. We're always being oriented towards things that turn us on. We have to kind of incorporate it all in. So I just tell people, do that work. Just really sit with these parts that we try to disown. And if you're in a relationship, do the work of really building true authenticity and intimacy by sharing that, asking for that. Even if you're told no, there's something powerful in acknowledging its existence and just standing behind it.
Well, I also saw that I was doing research for this interview, and I saw that someone was worked up about you saying that there's no such thing as sexual addiction. Is that accurate?
It is accurate. Yeah.
Do people get mad? Like you're saying you don't believe in that, and they're mad about it. Is that right?
Yeah, this is one of the topics that tends to burn me out the most, because it's the one that creates the biggest battle. There's so many sides to it, and I guess to boil it down, it's just clinically I was raised doing sex addiction work. So I spent 4 years getting trained under the forefathers of the field, and the big names, the big four, who still run the treatment centers and write the books. And so I'm very familiar with who they are. I'm very familiar with where all these things came from. I'm very familiar with why them doing this work is important. And I'm not denying people's struggle with sexuality. Like, my God, I am all about healing people. It's just the model we use is problematic, because when we use that word sex addiction, which is not an appropriate word used for sexuality, because you can't be addicted to sex just like you can't be addicted to breathing. It's something, as I point out earlier, that's always operating on us. The model of treatment becomes quite sexually anorexic and really, really, really does some problematic things. And it also shames diverse forms of sexuality. So I get burnt out because I've written so many professional articles about it. I tell people, I'm not going to sit here on Twitter and explain whatever you published. Go read my articles. But, bigger than that, I would say to them, with drugs and alcohol, which are a true addiction, people can't stop, and they'll show up to work, to parties, to dates, to my office, drunk or high. We have never seen someone in Starbucks masturbating because they can't stop. I've never gone into my waiting room and there's someone having sex on the couch there waiting because they can't stop. It's just hard to stop, but we do. That's why you don't see it happening out in the world. It's very difficult. It's compulsive. And so I empathize with that. I work with that. They come into my office. It's truly the model of treatment that I'm attacking.
Right. And yeah, you dared to have nuance about your understanding. And that's really inconvenient. They want it to be black and white, right?
Totally. And again, the people who are making money off this treatment don't want to lose that. They are very expensive treatment centers. And I always point out also, in closing up this topic, that every single mental health organization has rejected it. And it's just so bold and patronizing for these random people to go up against the research of the diagnostic manual, the insurance companies, the American Psychological Association, the sex therapy certification. All those organizations are yeah, we've done the work. It's not the right word to use. And then there's people that are yeah, but I know better. I just decided on my drive here, I pulled it out of my ass. I just don't agree. It's do the work, do the research, do some clinical experience with it, circle back, then your opinion will have a little more weight to it. But we sling that word around too problematically.
All right, fair enough. I just wanted to get the scoop on that.
Sure.
And here's what I want to know more generally speaking is from what is the genesis of your interest in this field to begin with?
Yeah, it's such a strange journey. I wish I had this one powerful defining moment, but it's been a slow build. I entered the field of psychology, did a doctoral program in general psych, and I just wasn't finding the work that dynamic or interesting. I considered getting into law or something else, but then I started working in sex addiction. And I found it really profoundly interesting. But then I saw that I was shaming through the sex addiction model a lot of healthy, diverse, creative things that me and my friends were doing sexually. We were having maybe open relationships, or friends that were paying for sex, or people that were geared towards more kinky things. And these are all the things that the sex addiction world was saying are signs of sex addiction. So I then got trained as a sex therapist, which is a more health-based model, far more intellectually driven and academic. And that's about a 3 to 5 year process or more. And then I really got an understanding of sex. Because again, the sex addiction people aren't trained. They have no training in human sexuality or sex therapy. They go through this like weekend warrior course. It's really bullshit. Where sex therapy is this like vast multi-year thing where you learn biology, anthropology, neurology, and it's so stunning. So my work kind of became about pushing back on all these really problematic norms and values that everyone's being held accountable to, but aren't really honest. And, you know, the studies always show that, you know, these vanilla forms of sex that we call normal, like 25% of us are doing that. When you look at the research or the search terms in porn, we are all kinky as hell. If you look at like the top search terms, like we are all very kinky. We just don't talk about it. So it's like, it's normal to be kinky. It's actually abnormal and not common to be very vanilla. Like no one's going looking for porn where they're like, I want to watch porn that's
with family values.
Yeah, in love, family values, on the bed, in the bedroom, on a Saturday morning, smiling and happy. Search. No one's looking for that, right? So that's profound. So
you're saying like it's so everybody's kinky, get over it.
Pretty much. And so my work kind of became about let me do the sex therapy and the relational therapy, but let me also bring this activistic component, my feminism in, and just really do it to make it social justice-y and end oppression, and just use my platform to make people feel normal. Like that's really what it is for me at the end of the day. I want minority people, creative, diverse people, people that aren't part of the majority to feel okay, to feel legitimate. That's it.
Right. I mean, it's very helpful, though, to people. Like, even, I think on our show, we've talked about, like, polyamory and things like that. And I'm always like, I don't get it. But it's just because it's not in my life. But it's so important to hear about it and to learn about other people's choices and things they're into.
And that's one of the most powerful things is, you know, polyamory and these open styles are really meaningful to a lot of my clients that are failing at monogamy. You know, monogamy has, depending on the studies you look at, a 50 to almost 70% failure rate. We have to stop blaming the individual person and say nothing else on our planet that had that much of a failure rate would we keep doing. We would literally say, maybe try something else. If 50 to 70% of people that try said thing, it doesn't work, like you got to blame the thing, not the person. And so my book is about creating another vision of monogamy so that those people can do that, but also saying, if you really struggle with it and you're a compulsive cheater, stop trying. Just ask for an open relationship. Be polyamorous. Like those are acceptable ways of being. It's maybe more aligned with your characterological style or the traumas you've gone through. It's okay.
Well, and one of my favorite things that you talk about is how you're like dismantling this idea that men are from Mars, women are from Venus, that archetype. And you just you're like, nope, we're not, you're not into
we're not doing
it.
That here.
And I just wonder, like, what has been the reaction to you saying that?
That has been that's probably the number one thing I get attacked for, pushed back on. Sex addiction is probably the number two. I have battled so many people on different media platforms because they've never thought beyond that. And they really, really have built their work around that. So their book is about, you know, the women's sexuality. And I'm like, really? All women in one book? Like, you know, we have to think intersexually. Like a white, poor, drug-addicted 15-year-old woman is a very different woman and a very different sexuality than a wealthy, black, lesbian, whatever kind of woman. Like, we have to stop using these two terms like they can be universalized. Like, what man are you speaking of? You can't just say a study showed that all men. Like, whoa, what? All of them? It's wild. And then what about people that are trans or non-gendered? Where do they fit? So I obnoxiously say, and I own that, if you're writing your books and you're still just referencing men and women, you're outdating yourself. You are not relevant to millennials, and we're going to laugh at your book real soon. So step it up and start talking in terms of non-binary, different kinds of women. Like, we have to really evolve that. And I'm so bummed by the people in psychology that haven't caught up yet. And they're still using these terms as though there's just two kinds of people in the world. And it's a lie. It's just not honest, because there aren't, you know?
Yeah. Anytime anything is caught up in like culture and religion and politics, it's going to be slow to change, I assume.
Totally. I mean, I can just only speak really for psychology, but we're a good decade plus behind. I mean, my goodness, I speak at all these universities and I tell them, what you're learning now is awesome, but it's not relevant to the work you can go out and do. It's about 10 years, 15 years behind. And so I try to give them resources of what's happening now. And I tell them what's going to come into their office, because they're still reading textbooks on men and women. And I say to them, what about someone who's non-gendered? What about someone who's trans? What about someone who's polyamorous? They will come in. How do you address that? You're not learning about that. And so that's why I try to use my work to kind of like fill in that gap.
Well, thank God you're doing it. I mean,
we
need somebody in our corner.
We sure do.
The last question I'll ask is something we ask everybody, which is, what do you keep in the trunk of your car, Dr. Chris?
Oh, that's phenomenal. You know what? I have absolutely nothing in the trunk of my car, and that says everything.
What are you talking about?
There's nothing in my car, period.
Is this intentional? Do you have a thing?
I do. I have a thing about space. I've actually never said this publicly. I also do not use or have anything in the left side of my refrigerator. So if you open the left side door, it's empty.
What?
Yes.
What is your deal?
I couldn't tell you. I haven't unpacked it, but I have a sensitivity to use of space and order.
Oh my heavens, that is fascinating.
Yes, it freaks people out. They'll open the right side of the refrigerator full of stuff.
Yeah.
Open the left side and it's just empty and clean and sitting there. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I don't know.
That's really something. I'll have to think about it and do an analysis.
Please, let me know.
Well, I hope everybody checks out Rebel Love. It is really exciting to see the work that you're doing, and hopefully people will start to embrace it. And I'm sure that you're getting lots of great feedback.
Yeah, thank you for the work you're doing as well. I mean, doing the work you're doing is just a powerful part of creating change, so thank you.
Yay, you're off the hook.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Talk to you soon, Dr. Chris.
Bye.
Bye. This podcast is brought to you by Wave Podcast Network. Check out all of our shows, including the Brain Candy Podcast, I Don't Get It, Babes and Babies, Coffee Convos, and Let's Talk About It.